Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of Compassion and Courage Conversations in Healthcare. I'm your host, Marcus Engel, and this is the podcast where we teach compassionate communication, provide perspective, and inspire resilience. With me, as always, is the hostess with the mostest, which is my wife, Marvelyne. Hi, babe.
I thought we agreed to quit with the hostess and the mostess, but
Yeah,
maybe
well,
we'll quit
I
next
brought it back.
week. Okay.
Yeah, there's always next month.
Hello. And actually, we matched today. We're both in blue.
Well,
Did you
are
plan
you
that?
sure? No, that's just a joke for the millions of times that I get asked the question, "How do you know what you're wearing?"
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're talking today. You know what? I had the opportunity to do this last week.
Tell me.
I got the opportunity to post on Facebook that I have been marked safe for 365 days from being bitten by a cottonmouth snake, I should say. 365 days since that snake bite, and
It really
we
let you
we
post that?
yeah, they really did, and they didn't take it down or mark me as a creeper or anything. So yeah, so it's been a year. It's been a year, and here's my hand. It still works just fine. I spent an hour today playing guitar. I spent a couple hours writing this morning. I flipped through my phone way too much today, just like everybody else does. My hand still works absolutely perfectly. And again, I am so appreciative and so thankful and just blown away that after enduring what could have been a life ending injury, I am really not too much the worse for wear. So thank you, thank you, thank you to everybody who helped me get through that, which of course would start with Marvelyne, and then move on to the paramedics and the emergency department and the surgeons and the acute care teams in the hospital, and finally with a little bit of physical therapy and occupational therapy too. Um, we got through that, and I have full use of my hand. Yay!
I'm shaking my head no periodically. It is just unbelievable that that happened, and then that it was a year ago. Because there are days I feel like it was a couple weeks ago, and there's a time it was like, oh yeah, remember when? So time's a funny thing,
Yeah,
but the
I
appreciation.
was also walking around in the backyard last night, and I thought again, I was doing this a year ago and got injured, and am I afraid of it now? People would tell me, oh my gosh, I would never step foot back in the house, back in the yard, anything like that after being bitten. Um, yeah, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. I've done the research. I know the stats, and I know that what happened was such a freak occurrence that I'm not worried about it ever happening again to me. But that does bring us back to this idea of appreciation, right? I know that after nearly having my life ended on now three occasions, I know that you come out of those times with a deeper appreciation for life and for the people around you and for your loved ones. And so today we thought we'd talk a little bit more about appreciation, eh?
I love that idea. And I will say we had a moment where we're like, well, how do we commemorate this year? And,
Mm,
we had some crazy ideas and people gave us crazy ideas. But the neighbor is the one person that was on the scene first because, they were closest and helped tremendously during that whole process. Um, Babysitting James, and even they even came and got the blood out of the carpet from the where the snake said goodbye, for us before we got home. I mean, they were amazing. So we knew what they loved. So it starts with red and ends with wine. So we were able to take them a bottle of wine and actually do something physical to commemorate that appreciation. And I think talking about appreciation and things we can do that put into action just the thank you that we can say. is important.
I don't know if you remember this, but we also did another act of appreciation for our wonderful neighbors who helped out. And that was that, of course, it's just a fence between our yard and their yard. So we've always known all of their dogs. They've always known all of our dogs. And just a few months before the snake bite, their longtime dog passed away. And so, in honor of that dog, we made a donation to James's alma mater, the CNI in Morristown, New Jersey. And we wrote on it for our neighbors, but in memory of their dog, Cowboy. And I know that that made a tremendous impact on our neighbors. And it it was not a big thing for us. And of course, we love to support our favorite charity, the CNI. But this is just one of the ways that we knew that we could show some appreciation and gratitude for the bending over backwards that they did to help us.
Honestly, I had forgotten that. And you're making me a little teary because I know what it means, to honor a pet that is very well loved and passes. And we did. That was a good one. That was a great appreciation. And part of why it was great was we could connect something that they cared greatly about with something beautiful that they had done. So, yeah.
Yeah. So how do we then show appreciation in general? And of course, since we're in the realms of healthcare here, how can we show appreciation to our staff? Well, our staff are people. So how do we then show appreciation to people for acts of kindness, acts of service, um, the people that we just love, right? The people that we interact with. How can we show appreciation for their kind deeds?
Well, we have to start with, why do we do that? Why do we need to show appreciation? What How does it benefit our team? How does it benefit our patients? How does it end up benefiting everyone by showing appreciation? We reached out to our neighbor. Honestly, for us, we had to do something. Um, what what are the benefits to your team when you stop and show appreciation?
Well, if you want to get into my healthcare consulting mind for this,
Yeah.
what are the benefits? There's a lot of those, including uh, staff engagement, right? When staff know that they are seen and valued and appreciated, that makes for a better team player, right? Whenever our boss recognizes the contributions that we make, that is one of the things that keeps employees engaged. And what does that mean? That dovetails right into retention. Whenever people are appreciated on a job, they're less likely to jump ship and go to the next job down the road, right? When we show that appreciation, it boosts engagement and it boosts retention in our staff.
And then it's one of those things that it's a win-win. I'm going to say the next thing that I think that it does is, it actually can help burnout from your staff. It won't solve it.
Certainly.
It can't solve, woefully understaffed positions, etc. But having those few moments of connection can actually help prevent and ease just straight, flat out burned out. I hate my job. Nobody understands what I'm dealing with here.
Yeah, yeah. And by that same rationale, when we look at the contributing factors for burnout and why people are likely to leave their jobs, often it's not the job that they're leaving. They're leaving the job because they don't like the people that they're working with. So if you can be the person who other people like working with on the job, guess what? You're going to see, again, better engagement, better retention.
Absolutely. And I have to say one other thing I think it does is I think it sparks a moment of joy in the receiver. And anyone on the floor, we'll keep it on the floor, or in the office, who has a burst of joy and that burst, that is contagious. And wouldn't we rather have a bunch of people with little bubbles of joy that are popping out than grouchy people anywhere?
You asked the question earlier, why do we show appreciation? Gosh, it's just the right thing to do, isn't it?
It is.
And when we can bring that joy to another person by knowing what their thing is, knowing a way that they want to be appreciated, it does spark joy, and that is contagious throughout the clinic and throughout the floors.
It is. And how do you do this? How do you express appreciation? We know there's a bazillion ways, but I will say that you cannot express appreciation effectively to a person if you have not invested time in getting to know that person and know, I'm going to say what their love language is because that's very common terminology we probably all understand. If you haven't spent the time with them to know what they like, what they don't like, how they will best receive what you're trying to do, then you're stuck before you get out of the gate. Spend some time with your staff so you actually know them and you know the ways they can best accept and appreciate being appreciated. That was a fun sentence.
That was a fun sentence. I was thinking about this and ways to show appreciation, and I was thinking, like, what is the most basic, common way that we think of to show appreciation? And it sparked something that you said to me a few days ago. I think of, well, you send somebody flowers to show that they're appreciated. But a few days ago, you gave me a quote or a meme or something that you had seen that said, people get more flowers when they're dead than when they're alive. That's
That's so sad.
a profound statement, isn't it?
It's so sad to me. I give me flowers while I'm here and let's have fun if you're going to give me flowers. But if you know me well, flowers may not be what you give me. you know?
I know you well, and I do get you flowers, but I know the exact kinds of flowers to get you because I know what you love. Why do I know that? Because, as you said before, I've taken time to learn these things. I've taken time to listen to my wife and know and witness what she appreciates more than anything. Now, we expect that to be done in a relationship, in a marriage, but it doesn't take that much effort to do that in the office, in the clinic, on the floor, right?
Right. So we're going to talk about today a list of some things you can do to express appreciation. And you choose the thing based on the interaction with the person you're attempting to acknowledge and appreciate. And that first one is giving a gift, and it could be flowers. But I know one nurse manager, and I don't think I'll ever forget this. She really made an investment in her team and knew that this one specific nurse really loved Skittles. So when that nurse was having a hard day, when she had the three grouchiest patients, on the floor and they were all hers and, she was just struggling, the nurse manager would just walk by and sprinkle her desk with Skittles because she would rather have Skittles than flowers. So gifts, we don't have to think elaborate or spending a lot of money. It does come down to connecting and knowing how that person can receive and what they need in the moment. So give a gift, but have invested in knowing so that gift is good. Some people are going to like a cup of coffee way more than they're going to care about a dozen roses. And it's way cheaper too. Just saying that. So give a gift. I'm going to say the next thing is simply a note of appreciation. And if you can handwrite it and drop it on their desk where they can keep it, that's better than an email, but do the emails too, right?
Yeah, handwritten note, a personally handwritten note goes a long way. An email is kind of easy. You know, I write appreciation emails all the time, but that's because I don't have the ability to write out handwritten note. The handwritten note is such a deeper investment in showing and acknowledging that person's effort than I think an email is. But plus, how many of us keep one of the things I always encourage my pre-meds to do is to keep a sunshine folder or a sunshine box, and that's a box of the notes of appreciation that they'll get from their future patients, or even papers that show their commitment to their profession that they're writing even as undergrads starting out. Just having a box that you can go to, or a folder that you can go to, that are those notes of appreciation from the people that you have served. And again, those handwritten notes, it's always better than an email.
It is. And I love that concept so much. And we try to do that. And one of the things that benefits, I just want to remind you too, uh, as the giver, you'll occasionally get these notes from a patient, from a boss, from a coworker. Save them, because
Save
on
them.
those worst, terrible, no good days, open it, go back through it, mentally stop and remember this is not all for nothing. Some people get it. So save them and give them. And along that line, another thing that you can do is simply verbally give a compliment. And even better if it's overheard in an appropriate setting, but give a compliment or whisper a compliment if that's the best thing to do for that person. But verbally, with your mouth, open your mouth and say, you handled that really great. I know it was hard. Or, wow.
I saw the way you took really compassionate care of that patient. I saw you being really kind to your coworker when they were having a hard day. Those are the kind of things that I think people remember.
Absolutely. And then we're going to get to a little bit more of elaborate ideas. And one is, if you are the crafty type, is there something homemade you can do? And, we think cookies, but maybe you like to crochet and they're expecting, make a baby hat.
And this reminds me of every year for Mother's Day, and how my children know how to appreciate their mother too. Because ever since I've come into the family, there has been one thing only one thing that you need to do for mom for Mother's Day. And that is,
Give me a homemade card. And I started the kiddos doing this as soon as they could even hold a marker. Um, and I have a beautiful collection of these over the years. And I still, now the grandkids do this because the parents train them. That's what, Emmy wants. And don't spend, if you spend $5 on a greeting card, you are so wasting it with me. Now, I appreciate it. I don't mean that. I appreciate the time you took and I know the investment. But make me a card, you little kids. And yeah, that's a precious thing to do for me. So do something like that. That's appropriate in your setting. But think, what skills or gifts do you have that you can share? I know some people love to bring their family specialty for dinner one night to the crew, or the things, the things. Do the handmade things. Then, if you can't do the handmade things, or you're not the cook, and they really don't want a sketched out card with stick figures saying "Love you, Mom," and half the letters are backwards. Uh, Take somebody out for coffee. If you can physically do it, if you can run to the cafeteria and get the frappa cappuccino thing that you know they love, do that. If not, walk by and drop a K-cup on their desk and say, this is one of the special salted caramel ones that I know you really love. And I've got one in my desk and I'm dropping you this. There's all kind of ways to do it depending on how your person receives it and what's appropriate for the culture that you're in.
I was even thinking about this. I didn't even, my first thought for a cup of coffee was more the time investment. Sit down with someone, have a cup of coffee with them, know what's going on in their life, know the current issues that they're facing, know the current joys that they're having, and that investment of time, memorable time, is also another great investment in people.
Which is actually the next point on the list, which
Oh
is
gosh, I jumped the gun.
Linda listening ear. They go right together,
Oh.
right? And you can do it over coffee if that's accessible to you, or you can simply do it in the hallway for a minute. If you see someone's really struggling, offer to be an ear. Not everybody can receive that or take advantage of that, but offer it, be there, be a safe place. And we know some amazing nurse managers that have had staff come up, move to other departments, and they still come back to the manager's office whenever they need advice, or they need help with a resume, or they have a question about something. They go back to their former manager because they created a safe zone here where we can get to the root of this problem you're dealing with, so that the patients win, the other staff members win, everybody wins when we take a moment to listen to someone and what they're going through.
Isn't that what I've been teaching for years, right? That the greatest gift we can give another person is our presence.
It
It's the time that we can spend with them. It's the attention that we can pay and the intention behind our attention, uh, to be there with that individual.
Yes. And I think that is a perfect note to close on as far as ideas of what you can do. I think use your own creativity if you are that type. If you're not, just flat pick one and do it. But start with listening to your staff and getting to know them each as individuals. And don't forget, this works with your management too. You can show appreciation to your management when they went out on a limb for you, or when they're
Mm.
really fighting, for your department and doing something extra. Make sure they know you appreciate that. And of course, it works at home and in all your other relationships too. Everybody wants and needs to feel appreciated. And if you have been the recipient of something extraordinary, you need to express appreciation. It's good for your own soul and makes what you've been through more precious, because it helps you honor. You went through a snake bite, Mark. Showing appreciation for the people who helped makes your soul happier. And mine too, because I was kind of there.
You were kind of there. You were there for 6 nights by my side in the hospital. And that presence is something that you feel, right? That I felt. Anybody can feel that when other people love them. And that's what we're trying to get out.
Yes, indeed.
So, so we want to thank you all for being with us for this time on Compassion and Courage. This is the podcast where we teach compassionate communication, provide perspective, and inspire resilience. Please, if you have any speaking needs or consulting for your hospitals, healthcare organizations, etc., please reach out via marcusengel.com. And we will see you all next time on Compassion and Courage.
Yes.